So, I believe in transparency and being honest. So, if I'm being honest, I'm going to tell you the story of how I came to be standing here. For a few months now, I've felt a tug on my heart that I should share something today. And I ignored it. Because, like, who wants to do that, right? It's really scary. And I ignored it for a long time, so much to the point where I knew I needed to be obedient, but I waited till the last possible second so that the answer would be no. So it was maybe 3 weeks ago, I finally reached out to Pastor Judy and I said, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm thinking. And she said, let's set up a meeting, and there's a process. So we set up this meeting, and I don't know how many of you have ever listened to a call. God's put something on your heart, and as soon as you say you're going to do it, you just get attacked, right? It just comes at you from everything. And that definitely happened. And in the time between the phone call and the meeting, just too many things, heavy things. So I came to the meeting with the intention of telling Judy that this isn't the right time. I can't do this. I think it's probably best to table it. Maybe we'll do it next year. Maybe, I don't know. And the weirdest thing happened when I was sitting in her office. I was talking to her, and then different words came out of my mouth. And then they were out, and I couldn't take them back. And she's very wise, so she's like looking at me like, so are you quitting, or what are you doing? So that's the honesty. I hope that what I have to say is important for someone today. But I know that it's important for me to say it because I have to be obedient to what this call is on my heart. So here's the deal. I'm going to start by telling you a few things that you may not know about me. And a lot of you don't know me at all. Some of you know me, but you know me only in this space or only in the amount that we've connected with each other. And there are some important facts about me as a mom that I think I have to share in order for us to talk about this. I have 4 children. A lot of people don't realize that because they're not always with me. They're grown up for the most part. We have adult children. So I have a daughter who's 25, just turned 25 this week. I have a son who's, how old is he, 23, 22? He has a birthday this year. How old's your brother? He's 22. I have another daughter who is 20, on her way to becoming 21 really soon. And Samuel, who most of you know, who just turned 18. So I have 4 grown adult children. That means absolutely nothing. That's just, being a mom doesn't, there's no time limit on it, and it doesn't end when someone turns 18 or when they move out or move back. That's not how it works. But suffice it to say, I have 4 children. For a long time, for about 5 or 6 years, I was a children's pastor. I started doing this when Samuel was a baby. He was very little. I think he doesn't even really remember most of the time that we spent in the church. Being a children's pastor is not for the weak. And my children worked as hard as I did. When you are a pastor in any capacity, when you are in ministry, it becomes your family's ministry. It is not just yours. I don't have enough time to explain how my husband and I came to be in that path. But we were children's pastors for about 6 years at a Foursquare Pentecostal church. During that time, I was trying to figure out how to be a mom, how to be a good mom. And I didn't really know that how you be a good mom is just, it's individual. It's your own personal journey. So I took a lot of guidance from the moms that I was around, and from Mom's Group, and Mom's Bible Study, and all the mom things, right? You connect with all these people. So my kids' favorite thing to talk about is that during those years are known as the years where I deprived them of Harry Potter, because it's evil sorcery. The years where they I really, really was trying to convince them that Bible Man was just as awesome as any DC or Marvel superhero. It's not accurate. I mean, he's cool, but it's not the same thing. Our house was filled with Veggie Tales. We got rid of all the secular music. My husband and I are like really into music, all kinds of music. We always have been. And we went through that phase. I think a lot of people who find Christianity later in their life journey, and I say later, like you're in my 20s. You know, I was raised Catholic, and then I found my way to this kind of Christian path. And the first thing you do is purge your life of everything of the world that might be a temptation. So Ozzy Osbourne has to go. Get it out of the house because it's some kind of poison. So we like lost thousands of dollars worth of music and movies, and I still regret that to this day. But I spent a lot of time trying to be the mom that I thought I was supposed to be. The problem is that wasn't right. That wasn't me. I was trying to complete a picture because I thought if I followed all of these steps, then you raise smart, wise, respectful children who do amazing things and are successful, and there's like a formula, right? And you follow it, and then everybody's awesome, and like it's really cool, and they put you in a magazine or something. I don't know. And that's just complete lies. So my evolution as a mother, and when Judy and I talked, we talked a little bit about the fact that we're in this resurrection season. And I feel very much like there was a point in my life where the mother that I thought I was supposed to be, that had to die. And I had to be resurrected as a mother I was intended to be. And that's it's a hard pair of shoes to fill, because it comes with a lot of judgment and criticism. So there's a story. My mom passed away when my oldest daughter Gigi was 10 years old. And Gigi was the first of what I like to call my weird kids. I have 4 weird kids. They're not like anybody else's kids. They're not average. They don't do normal stuff. I mean, anybody who goes to church here and has for a while knows that my son puts on like musicals, like full of, what, kids don't do that. That's a lot. So I recognize that I have these weird kids. And when my mom passed away, I was still coming at the tail end of trying to make my kids be what I thought they should be, that was acceptable. And my daughter Gigi has really always been very quirky. She's been a weird kid. And we're trying to figure out what everybody's going to wear to the funeral, right? Well, of course she has to wear a dress to the funeral. It's a funeral. Your grandma died. This is a really important time. And she just flat refused. She's like, I don't want to wear a dress. I hate dresses. You know I hate dresses. You only make me wear them on Christmas. I don't want to wear it. And she's very upset, and she was very adamant. And her and my sister are like, imploring me that she does not want to wear this dress. And Gigi just looks at me and she says, Mima wouldn't make me wear a dress if I was sad. And I'm like, no, she wouldn't. And Gigi didn't wear a dress to a funeral. But at that moment, I realized that I had been trying to, metaphorically make her wear dresses all the time. And she wasn't comfortable in her own skin, and that wasn't the right thing. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know how to make that be something else. But it was the beginning of my evolution as a mother. It was the beginning of the moment that I realized I needed to leave ministry. And I needed to make my family my ministry and my children. I spent 10 years taking care of my mom. My mom was in an auto accident when she was 44. And Gigi was just born. And my mom was left a quadriplegic. So for 10 years, I took care of my mom, and I was actually in ministry during that time. So when my mom passed, a lot of things changed. A lot of things ended. A lot of things began. And that was the beginning of me realizing that the ministry had taken so much from my ability to be a mom that I needed to shift and now focus on that. And my husband and I did that together. The reality is that that was also my decision to leave the church as it was in a very structured sense. never to leave my relationship with God, not my journey. But there's a lot of judgment in churches. And I really struggled with the wanting to be the kind of mom I knew I was called to be, but that the church really didn't see it the same way that I saw it. So for a long time, we kind of church hopped. We didn't really have church as it was settled, and my kids, went to youth groups, and they never lost their path. But it was a journey. People ask me all the time, or they'll comment, and they'll say, you raise such great kids, your kids are so amazing, and they, what did you do to do that? The answer to that is I did absolutely nothing. I take no credit for that. I mean, I love them, and I hope my husband and I have provided this safe space for them to figure out who they are. But at the end of the day, I can't take that credit. I just stepped back and I let them learn to be what they needed to be. That's where this Lessons for Mary comes into play. It's one of my biggest issues with the Bible is that we don't get to know what happens, right? He's 12 and then he's 30, and from 12 to 30, nothing happened. I think so much stuff happened that it's like a whole other book. I often find myself thinking about Mary as a mother to Jesus. Because if we face it, Jesus was a weird kid, right? He left, he took off at 12 years old for 3 days. I would be frantic. You lose your 12-year-old, you don't know where he is, and then you find him and he's like holding court with educators and preachers and theologians. He's standing there and that's what he's doing at 12 years old. As a mother, what do you do with that? How do you handle that? Because first of all, the whole town's looking at you like the crazy lady with the kid and things like, you're worried about that. And then you're worried about him because he's not put himself in a place of risk, of people targeting him and seeing him as something, dangerous or a threat. And the remainder of her years mothering him, I feel, was spent worrying for him, protecting him, but knowing that, as that scripture says, all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. And that's my life motto. If you're called according to God's purpose, you have to know that all things work together. Even the bad things, even the hard things, even the things you don't want. And as a mother, that's the hardest thing for me to do. I always want to step in and do God's job for him. Because I'm a mom, so I think I can do it the best. But that's not the truth. I can't imagine what Mary felt knowing that her son was sent to save the whole world. Even the people who didn't like him. Even the people who wanted bad things for him. He was here for everyone. And I someday hope that I get to know what happened in those years. I'd love to know what Jesus was like as a teenager. Because he was human. He was special, but he was human. And I don't know a single human teenager that doesn't go through some stuff. And when we look at the story, the next story we get to really see is that wedding at Cana, and knowing that Jesus does this miracle, and she told him they were out of wine. I don't think she was expecting him to do some crazy parlor trick. She was thinking he'd just get some wine or make something happen. And again, how must that have felt? Because there were a lot of people who thought that was really great, but there were a lot of people who did not think that was really great. And in my opinion, she had to be the strongest one. Because she stood in the background and watched him do great things, knowing that his journey would end, knowing that she would have to carry on his work after he was gone, and knowing that there would always be people who would wonder if she was a good mother. So at the end of the day, I know that there will always be people who will wonder if I was a good mother because I let my kids be the weird kids that they are. Because I let them make their own mistakes. I let them come back when they need to come back, and I let them leave when they need to leave. And that will always, always be the case, no matter what. But I didn't know, I really don't know a lot of times what we're singing till the week of church and we get the lyrics. And, this song that we just sang, it says, I can see your heart in everything you've made. That's all I have. I see God's heart in everything I've made. And I've only made it because of Him. My husband and I have been blessed with these wonderful children. And whether they're weird or not, they're mine. And I wouldn't have it any other way. They're exactly the children I'm supposed to have. And this is exactly the journey I'm supposed to be on.
Amen.
And what I will leave you with is whether you have children, whether you've raised your children and they've grown up and moved on, there are a lot of children right now who don't have somebody in their life to feel this way about them. And I'm passionate about that. I'm passionate about every weird kid knowing that somebody loves them and knowing that they have a safe place. And even if I only come in contact with them once, that I say to them, you are important, you are necessary, you have a place in this world, and somebody loves you. Because I see God's heart in everything that He's made.
Amen.
Thank you.